Okay, I'm super excited. We're here with Miss Jenkins, the Chromatic Music Teacher. You may have seen her online. She's got a really big following online, and actually she's a bit famous. So she is going to talk to us about Boomwhackers. So I want you to teach me as much as you can about Boomwhackers right now. So what is a boomwhacker?
So a boomwhacker is a musical instrument, and it's really simple. It's just made out of plastic, and they're really sturdy, and they're a really great instrument for kids because some instruments are really delicate for kids that you might not want to give them yet, but boomwhackers are basically indestructible, and so kids can play with them, and they're going to last for a really long time. They're a lot less expensive than a lot of instruments, so there's something that can be really accessible for teachers, maybe even in schools that don't have as many resources.
And all the music classes that I've been in since we've ran Quaver, most classes, almost all of them have got a set of boomwhackers. Okay,
Yes.
Can I have a boomwhacker to hold? Okay, here we go. Now they've got the writing on the side. This is the note from the scale, right? So now I should point out the word chromatic, because your title is the Chromatic Music Teacher. Tell us what chromatic means.
Yes. So chromatic really has two meanings, and it works really well for me. So a chromatic scale in music is going to be a scale where you're going to play every pitch available. So on a piano, for example, if you start at the far left and you go and you play every key, every white key, every black key, that is a chromatic scale. But chromatic also means relating to colors. And so the boomwhackers, of course, are in a rainbow, and so they're very colorful, and I love to wear lots of colorful clothing, and so it worked really well for me, just tying in music and tying in my personality all together.
That's really good. Okay, so my boomwhacker says it's a B, so that's a note B on the piano. So if you go to middle C and you went left, you would find a B.
Yes.
It's actually the B above middle C, this one. But what's your one?
I have E.
Okay, so tell us some more about boomwhackers. What's the best way to play it? Now, if I give this to my children, they'll probably hit me or my knees or my legs or their own knee. Where's the best place to play it?
The number one thing with boomwhackers is to not hit other people. I have to tell my students that all the time. We don't hit other people.
We do not hit other people.
So my preferred way of playing boomwhackers is to hold it at the end. I like to hold it with my dominant hand. Whatever hand you use to hold a pencil, which is my right hand. So I hold it in my dominant hand.
I'm left-handed.
There we go. So it would be opposite. So I have my other hand, my left hand, I have it ready, and I like to touch it first just to know where it's going to hit. And you just hit, and it makes a note. And so it's really, really simple. Anyone can pick it up and play it. You could also play it on the floor, especially because if you play for a long time, your hand might start to sting a little bit, just like if you're clapping for a long time. So playing on the floor is another really great option to get the sound out, but you can really hit it on pretty much anything and get the sound.
But also there's if you've got them in your classroom, a good thing to do is just to experiment. It's a good experiment to see where you can get the best sound. So you might find that if you hold it too tight and hold it in the middle and you hit it on the floor, it doesn't ring out so much as if you hit it on the end. It rings out a tiny little bit more. So does your hand ever get sore? So if you were playing a piece and you were in class with your elementary kids and you gave out the boomwhackers and you did a song, and by the end of it will be like, oh, miss, stop! My hands are... Does that ever happen?
It does happen, and that's why I give my students the option of hitting it on the floor as well if their hand starts to sting, because it is very possible if you're playing a song, maybe you have the boomwhacker that plays the most often in a particular song. Maybe you have an ostinato going on where you're playing your note a lot. Your hand definitely could start to sting, so the floor is always a great option.
And what do you think is the most boomwhackers that you can have sort of on your person at any one time?
2 would be ideal. You can switch them around, but it's hard to set them down quietly. You always hear a little bit of a bouncing sound, and so it's always kind of like playing handbells. You know, you can have 2. You can do some switching, but for playing boomwhackers in real time, having 2 would probably be the best.
Okay, that's really good. And so do you in your class, do you have boomwhacker arrangements? Do you make those arrangements yourself? So when you see a piece of music, say it's a Quaver piece of music, and you think, oh man, I think I could arrange this for boomwhackers. What tips have you got for some of the teachers that are watching about how to arrange for boomwhackers?
I haven't really done a lot of arranging yet myself, but looking at if you wanted to do a piece for Boomwhackers, keeping it as simple as possible, maybe sticking with quarter notes and half notes and whole notes, and you're probably not going to want to get into a really complicated 16th note rhythm and things that could be difficult, and keeping it with the diatonic set of Boomwhackers. That's what most people are going to have. So getting into the sharps and the flats and the accidentals. Some people might not have those, but just creating for the resources that you have and knowing your students. There are also a lot of really great resources out there and play along videos that you can find that have the notes coming at you and the students play along with it. And my students really love those.
Okay, so I've got a B, Boomwhacker. You've got an E. So what you're saying, these are just one note. So you have to get all kinds of different shapes and sizes of Boomwhackers for all the different notes in the scale.
Yes, and so they make Boomwhackers that cover 2.5 octaves, basically like on a piano. And so each Boomwhacker is a different note, and each color is a different note, but you can have different octaves of the same note. So there is an E that is an octave lower than this one, and
which would be a lot longer.
Yes, okay. And there's an E that is an octave higher than
which
this
would be
one.
a lot shorter.
Yes.
Okay, good. Right, okay. Now, is there things that you can add to the Boomwhackers to change the sound? So we're getting a bit sciencey here, aren't we? So tell us about these little things that you can add to the end.
Yes, so they are called Octavator caps.
Ooh, that sounds all kind of Marvel comic-y.
Yes.
Octavator cap.
So an Octavator cap is a really great resource, especially maybe if you don't have the longer set of Boomwhackers, the lowest octave. You put it on one end of the Boomwhacker, and it actually drops the pitch by an entire octave.
Stop it now.
So now this Boomwhacker sounds like this.
Oh, I didn't know that. That is... Oh, I'm having trouble with my Octavator cap.
They're a little bit hard to get on sometimes. Right.
So I hold it... Which end do you hold it on, that end or that end?
I usually hold it with the cap end at the top.
Okay, this is exciting. Okay, well, I'm going to play it without my Octavator cap. Put my Octavator cap on. Whoa!
Yeah.
It's like magic.
It is. And so we've talked about before the science of sound. And so longer instruments are going to produce a lower sound and shorter instruments are going to produce a higher sound. So basically what is happening, the sound can't escape out of the end of the tube.
Yeah, go on.
So it has to travel all the way down here and then come back this way. So it doubles the length of the Boomwhacker essentially. And so it drops the pitch by an octave.
That is amazing. I like that so much. So look, it's just one, and when you add it, now here's what we could do. If I had two of these and I got some tape and I taped them together, it would also drop the octave, wouldn't it? Because it would double the length, right?
Yes.
So in effect, the Octavator cap is doubling the length. Isn't that fun? Now, give me your Octavator cap. Okay, so now it's an octave lower. What? Oh, okay, right. Here's a little quiz question. What will happen if I put the Octavator cap on the other end? What will happen to the sound? Will it quadruple the sound so it will go, or what will happen?
It just hardly makes a sound.
So it's trapping the waves of sound and they can't get out with both Octavators.
It does. So it's, where Boomwhackers are essentially just a tube, the air and the sound, it can't escape when you have the caps on both ends. So we can only put caps on one end.
What I really want to do is get the longest Boomwhacker we've got and then add the Octavator cap and make a lowest sound that we can make with a Boomwhacker in the history of the world.
Okay.
Okay, so let's get the two longest Boomwhackers you got.
Okay. So
oh my goodness! These are ginormous!
So this is the low C. This is the biggest Boomwhacker that exists. And sometimes you might see these that get a little bit dented, where these are so long, and kids get very excited to see these Boomwhackers because they always want to have the longest one. Yep. But they do get a little dented sometimes. So, so this one is in good condition.
Okay, right. So let's just hear that. And I've got a C, you've got a C sharp.
C sharp.
Right, okay. So I'll bang mine on my hand.
Okay.
So that's what la. I like that. Oh, so it's chromatic, C to C sharp. Okay, that's enough of that. Okay, so if we put the Octavator cap on the end, this is exciting for me. Oh my goodness, my Octavator. I'm having trouble with my Octavator cap. Okay, there we go. So I've got my Octavator cap on, and you said, is it best to do this on your hand or on the floor, or how do you do it?
So with the longest Boomwhackers, it's actually a little bit easier to hit them on the floor. So if you put the Octavator end on the floor, you can bounce it.
So really, just remember what we were saying. This is now double the length. So really, it would be kind of hitting you in the head, even though you can't see it. Right, here we go. Oh, it's Jaws! It's a Jaws movie! There's a shark coming towards us. It's the Boomwhacker version of Jaws. That was really cool. That's amazing. So go try that in your class. Or if you've got some Boomwhackers at home, you could, I suppose you could put some tape, some duct tape. To be really careful, you could put duct tape on the bottom, anything, or you could try putting something like a sponge, which won't stop the sound completely, and see what difference that will make. So this is really hard and it stops the sound. But if you put something like a tissue paper, does that make it go an octave lower or not? What happens to the sound then? So lots of different experiments you can do with Boomwhackers. Okay.